I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key. Catch me on the downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key. Catch me on the downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin'.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed that dramatic little intro. I know I enjoyed making it. And I am so excited to tell you more about the process of making that hanten and all of the other crafts that I did this month. And by the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would charge for making that garment.
Catch me on the downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key.
So guys, I won't lie, July was very much a chaotic month. So I don't have a lot of B-roll this month. Obviously the scenery is a little different, and that's just because one, I'm really cozy on this couch and I don't really want to move, and two, my bedroom is a little messy and I don't want to clean it. But all of this is to say that this video might look a little different than last month's or other months, and I'm telling myself that that is okay. We're just gonna do what we can, and I still have some fun things planned. So first, let's talk about sewing.
Catch me on the downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key.
So let's start with this hanten garment. If you watched last month's video, this was a project that I picked up after going to Hawaii on a family trip, and specifically what happened is we visited a local fabric store, we saw this garment, my brother and my boyfriend expressed that they liked it, and so of course I got the pattern. They picked out fabrics that they liked, and I started making both of them a jacket. And what I have finished in July is my boyfriend's jacket, and I'm really proud of how this turned out. So specifically with this process, he picked out all of the fabrics and the threads actually, and I worked on mock-ups mostly to get his sizing correct, and then obviously constructed the garment. And you've already seen that beautiful intro with some great clips of the piece, but also I have it next to me. So here's the piece, not in as good of lighting as that intro, but I did just want to have it here to kind of show off some of the details. So like I said, he picked out the fabric, this one, and the contrasting fabric. He also picked out thread details specifically for any top stitching that was in this, and it's hard to tell here, but it's gold thread, and it's really cool. And what's funny is after we got this, he was telling me that he was a little nervous that these patterns wouldn't look good together, and I think now that everything is said and done, they are amazing. And this is what I told him. I think these work well, partially because this contrasting fabric is such a tiny print. So it's just the diamonds like repeating. Whereas this fabric is the wave and it's just a very large print. And I can see why there was some doubt just because this is a much darker blue and has some white and gold, whereas this is a much brighter blue, but also has that gold. And I do think the golds tie each other together, but I see where some fear might be with like the blues clashing, but I think they work very well together. This is also just a stunning contrast fabric on its own. It's so shimmery and just, I can't, it's so good. But yeah, I think the gold ties it in beautifully. I think the size of those different patterns really helps the contrast be striking and not so like just chaotic. Now, this garment is a gift for my love, and I would never charge him or like my family for a project like this, but I am really proud of how this turned out, specifically like the quality of the garment. I think I took a lot of care and time in some of the details and specifically the finishings. So like all of the edges of that garment are overlocked, and I took time in like pressing all of my seams. And actually it kind of feels silly to say like I did all of those things, but I just feel like those details really take a garment from homemade to handmade, if that makes sense. And I just know that like this is gonna last in the wash and this is going to be able to be worn many, many times. So I'm just really proud of the construction of this. So I thought it'd be interesting to figure out like what I would charge if I were to sell this. And I won't lie, it is kind of becoming a dream to start selling things. Like I have just been loving sewing so much. I want to make anything and everything, and I don't want it to strictly be for me or for like friends and family. Would love to make things and sell them. Now, that is a dream for now. Maybe one day it'll be a reality. But what's important with that dream is if it were to become a reality, I would want like this level of quality to be in the garments that I produced. Oh, that reminds me, the other part of what I think makes this a really great garment is the time I took on the fit. So I actually did 2 mock-ups. We did the first one and then sized down so it's a better fit. And I'll say with the hanten specifically, it is designed to be a little oversized, or like what I would consider kind of an oversized piece. But even with that, like you want the sleeves to hit in a certain portion of your arm, you want the hem to hit on a certain length, all of those things. And I took the time in my mock-ups to make sure that those fit adjustments were happening, which is really cool. And that's part of why it turned out so good. So with that context of I kind of would love to sell things eventually, and I'm really proud of how this piece turned out. It's something that I would sell if it weren't a gift. Let's talk about the different costs that would go into pricing a garment like this. And I should say, I love other content creators who make videos like this where they break down their materials, the labor, what they would charge, why, all of those things. So I am kind of taking inspo from other people in this space. So first, let's talk about cost of materials. The wave fabric was $79.80 for 4 yards of fabric. The contrast fabric was $16.50 for 1 yard. The pattern itself was $16.50, and I'm estimating here because I bought more thread than I ended up using, but let's say about $8 for thread. That would bring just the cost of materials to $120.80. So already expensive. And that isn't the only cost that I would think about in pricing a garment. I have to think about the time and effort that went into making this. So the cost of my own labor. I did not keep a strict time log of this project, so I can't say an exact like hours and minutes amount that it took me for like 2 mock-ups and then this final piece. But what I would include in this estimation and these calculations are the mock-ups, any time spent on like cutting fabric. Oh, in fact, that reminds me, this did not turn out how I wanted, but I did attempt to pattern match on this. So I wanted to try and make it so that the wave pattern matched across seams. It did not happen, and I'm still figuring out why, but there was some like extra time spent even on the final garment that wasn't spent in the mock-ups just because of pattern matching. So just a disclaimer there. So let's say for the final garment, I think 5 hours is about the right estimate. And then for my 2 mock-ups, probably 8 hours altogether. So like 4 and 4 for those. That would come to 13 hours of labor. And because I'm making another one for my brother, I'm gonna try and be more attentive to how much time I actually spend on this, because I would love to know the actual number. I don't know if I'm overestimating, underestimating. I'm hoping I'm getting somewhere close with 13 hours. So the hard part about all of these cost breakdowns is the cost of labor, because I don't really know how to price myself. I know content creators who price themselves in like the $30 per hour or $40 per hour range, but they have like a degree in fashion. They have a lot more experience in the industry than like I do. So on the scale of experience, I definitely would not want to charge near $30 or $40 per hour. Honestly, probably closer to half of that. But there's also a different principle that I want to bring into this cost estimate, which is a livable wage. I truly do believe that no matter the labor being performed, people should be at least paid a livable wage. So meaning that they can cover, housing, food, all of necessities. So I'm going to give you 2 different labor costs. I did some research. The livable wage in Utah would come to be $24.71 per hour. I think I would charge $15 an hour for my labor just on experience and all of that. So my range for labor costs would be anywhere from $195 to $321. So if I were to price this garment with a living wage in mind, I would charge $441.80. But if I were to go based off of my current experience and like skill level, I would be more comfortable with charging $315.80. And I do want to say that that's a crazy price. Not that it's crazy because it's like super expensive, but crazy in the context of specifically like American economics and the economy at like this point in the 2020s. It's crazy that our labor is so exploited and taken advantage of that price for a handmade garment is absolutely out of most people's budgets. Like I would not pay that price even for a cool handmade garment like this. I don't got that kind of budget. So, I'd say all of this in the context of like dreaming about selling things, and then it's like a little soul crushing to do the math and be like, oh, that's not what I would want to like charge a consumer. And what I like about cost breakdowns of this is it always sparks like interesting comments, at least on the videos that like I see. So if you have any thoughts about what you would pay for a garment like this, what you would charge for a garment like this, other like costs that you think about in pricing, like I want to hear it all. I think it's so interesting, and even just doing the math on this was kind of eye-opening for me. Okay, so that's my hanten, but that is not the only sewing that I did this month. I went kind of crazy on the sewing, and I have a bunch of other projects that I want to show you. So first, I did finish the pair of bloomers that I've been talking about. So I've made this with a friend. It was so fun because she was new to sewing, had her own machine, just kind of didn't know how to work it. And so we just bought a pattern, this pair of pants, and we made it together, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed the process, and I love how they turned out. So it's similar to those Free People like lacy bloomers. You can see like the pant legs have this really pretty lace. And when I'd say that this video is gonna be like a little unpolished or a little more chaotic than others, these have been worn, they have a lot of dog hair on them, my apologies, but I love them, they're so cool. And I truly want to make like 3 more pairs, and I want to make variations of them. Like my friend, she made the ties on the side of the pants, so like on either hip, which is so cute. And this pattern did not have pockets, so I'd love to figure out a like really nice finished pocket look for this. And I made just like a simple black pair, but I want pink, I want green, like I think it's so cute. So that was one sewing project. I also upcycled a tablecloth that I had gotten as a part of some fabric from my grandmother, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. So before I show you the top, just imagine like a kind of rectangular-ish tablecloth. I went and turned that into these top. And I'll have some B-roll. I think I have a short of me wearing this, so you can like see it not as wrinkly and on a body. But it's really cool. So the tablecloth has this beautiful floral pattern like on every corner. And then the edges are embroidered and have this like cute little fringe, which I really love. And so what I did is I cut out a neck hole and armholes and then made bias tape and made essentially straps out of the bias tape. And I'll include a link and a screenshot of the video that I followed to do this, but this has been great. I've worn it many times. It's fantastic in the heat. Also, my boyfriend seems to think that this is white, and this doesn't look, this is not the best lighting, but I swear it is light blue. But it is blue, not white. Also, for that, the straps turned out so good because I got a bias tape sewing foot. So this is her. First, if you are like a vintage sewing machine girly, rise up, because I had to buy this off of eBay because I have an old style Bernina, so I always have to find feet that have these two prongs or it won't work with my machine. But the bias tape foot is so cool. You feed your bias tape in, it holds the folds, and then you have like a little slot that you can put your fabric into. So it was great for this, so I could have the tape and then have the armhole or the neck hole, like whatever, in between. And then you just sew as normal and it gets it all in one go. And it looks so clean, it looks so good. It has held up really well, which I'm very happy with, because that tablecloth fabric was fraying kind of easily after I cut it. And I was like, I'm a little afraid to wash this. But so far, so good. And I love this. This was a great purchase. Okay. The final sewing thing that I did this month was kind of an unhinged going away gift for some of my friends. So some of my friends moved out of Utah, very sad, but also very happy for them. And as a going away gift, I wanted to make them some toys for their cats. But of course, it can't just be cat toys. It has to be a reference, a nod to one of our inside jokes. So for context, years ago, I lived in Wisconsin, specifically for a job. And at this job, one of my coworkers one day was telling somebody else about how some kids pranked him. Specifically, they, I think, TP'd his lawn or something. It does not matter, because what matters is that in that conversation, he was complaining about like, kids don't do normal pranks these days. Like, what happened to putting hot dogs on somebody's lawn? And I'm overhearing this and I'm like, that's a normal prank? I've never heard of this before. If you're from the Midwest and that is normal, like, let me know. But that seemed crazy to me. So I, at the time, then visit my boyfriend who was still in Utah. We were long distance. So I go back into town. I've already told him about this story. We have laughed about it. And then we start to think, hey, maybe it is a good prank. And so, of course, we prank these friends by not only putting hot dogs in their lawn, but we put like little faces on these hot dogs. And I think it's a funny prank. I will say it was one that we like did not leave and then not tell them about. We put the hot dogs out and immediately texted them like, oh, you know, your lawn looks a little funny today or something like that. You know, like we outed ourselves immediately. But they find it, they think it's hilarious. It's been kind of like a funny story within the friend group for a long time. So I hope you can kind of tell where this is going. But for these cat toys, I decided to make them into little hot dogs with some very unhinged faces on them. And it was really fun. I tried out my free motion darning foot again, which was great. And to make them like crinkly, because they're cats like those like crinkle toys, I used some like old plastic from magic card decks and stuffed them into the toys. So if you squish them, they make like a little crinkle sound. So that was my other sewing project, and I am really happy with how it turned out. It was very simple and very fun. it was very easy to just like figure out in my own head. Okay, that covers the sewing that I did for the month.
Catch me on the downslide, downslide, downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key.
And this is where I would talk about cooking, and I'm not gonna lie, this is where the video starts to break down because of how chaotic the month was. I have included a cooking section in my videos because I truly think that cooking can feel like crafting. But it only feels like crafting when I have the capacity to look for and choose recipes that I'm like craving and desiring, and that I'm genuinely excited to cook. This month, cooking very much felt like a chore. So all of the recipes that I chose this month were for convenience and quickness, and honestly, even like for the ease in which I could just pull it out of the fridge and scarf it down. So quite literally this month I made like sandwiches, pinwheels, and burrito bowls. And I don't have pictures, and that's okay. I was a little nervous to make this video just because of how different the effort has been across like all of my hobbies. But I think in like writing my script and kind of working all of this out, what I have realized is I'm just proud that I am still consistent in cooking, even if it's not like the most labor, love, intense act, you know, that's okay. I still made meals at home, definitely ate out a little bit more this month, but I still made meals at home, you know, ate and nourished my body. So that's a win. But I did want to mention that this month for our indoor date, my boyfriend had us make homemade ice cream, and that was a fun crafting moment where we got to pick out our own flavors and then make this delicious treat. And so in fact, the ice cream flavor that I made was brownies and cookie dough. So I mixed them both together, and it had like cookie dough bits and brownie bits. Oh, dear God. And he made a strawberry and lemon pound cake flavor, which was very delicious. And you know what? That's what love is. One person likes chocolate flavors and the other person likes fruity flavors. Okay, so that's cooking. Let's talk about dance, handstands, maybe just like exercising in general.
Catch me on the downslide, downslide, downslide. I'll be heading up in the wild, chillin' low key.
I'm so sorry. This is also kind of the same as the cooking. It was hard to be consistent this month. I did end up going at least once a week or like 2 classes to like pole classes and like stretching classes. So hey, still did something. But I don't think I took any handstand classes in the month of July. And I don't think I really practiced on my own either, which is totally fine. It's fine. And you know why it's fine? It's because exercising is really fun when there's not other chaos going around. And when there's not other chaos, it is enjoyable to gain skills, to grow in those abilities, and to like move up, you know? It's satisfying. When there is chaos, exercise becomes I don't want to say self-care, because I think that word has like a kind of a different association on the internet, but self-care in the way of like when life is chaotic and I don't exercise, there's a stark decrease in like my mental health or in just like my mood and whatnot. And so exercising becomes like a necessity to my baseline. Hopefully that makes sense. So I do want to celebrate the fact that I made it to classes, and I still took some extra classes here and there to just like dance and move around, and that's pretty awesome. Also, aside from dance and pole and like handstands, I did start rock climbing this month, which has been a whole other challenge. It is very fun. It's such a great social time to be with my boyfriend, to be with our friends, and it is a bit of a challenge in like an odd way, because you would think with dance that I have some sort of thick skin when it comes to like performance, to being around like a big crowd of people, all of those things. But at the rock climbing gym, I just like being in such an open space where I feel like a lot of people can see me, and then I am struggling to like conquer heights and to not feel self-conscious and like all of those things. It is such a mental game sometimes. It's also really satisfying when I like make it up the wall, when I complete a route. But you know, it is a challenge in a different way that I was like not expecting. So yeah, busy month, but I've still shown up for myself. And that brings us to what is usually the final section of my videos, where I talk about writing. I have a fanfic that I've been writing for the past little bit. Yeah, for like since the start of the year, just about. And I've really taken a pause on writing. God, I've said this so many times, but just chaotic month, okay? So I took a pause on writing. I did not like push myself to put out a chapter, to finish anything and whatnot, but I still found time to write, which is like so uplifting, because I always feel afraid with hobbies that I'm gonna like drop it and just never pick it up again. You know, like something about that I don't love. So with writing, I was a little afraid that like I was gonna drop this fanfic and like never pick it up again. But I really did find time where I wanted to write, and like as I wrote, as I started writing, I got more into it again and like really was enjoying myself. Now, I have not written a lot. I don't have another chapter that I've posted. Oh my gosh, also because this is very separate from that fanfic account. Hopefully those worlds don't cross. But what I'll say is I've been getting some very sweet comments of people missing this fanfic, of checking on me, all of those things. And sometimes that adds like a weird pressure, but also like it's good. I want to like view it as like a yes, like this can motivate me to write and whatnot and to put out a next chapter. Oh, also, I keep talking about how like I'm not sure how to end this. I think I have figured out that problem. I think I have planned out my final couple of chapters, and so I know from like where my story is at now how I'm going to get to the ending that I want. And that was honestly like a big help as far as clearing, not like a writer's block, but just like clearing any apprehension that I had about like writing. Okay, so that is it for the month of July. Despite the chaos, we still craft, and I'm just really proud of myself. I showed up for myself in ways that I really needed this month just to keep my own sanity, to get through some like ups and downs and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna end this for the month. And as always, you are so cool, you are so talented, and you are so hardworking. Okay, love you, bye.